The Natya Kala Conference has grown from the understanding of practice to theory, to the text, to the music, to varied interpretations, to banis, to kinetics of space, movement and sound, and has gone on to reveal the holistic content and approach of Natyam that should be there towards Natyam. By now, the Natya Kala Conference has grown into becoming pan-Indian, pan-Asian and global. The 35th Natya Kala Conference, which like the 34th is being convened by the inimitable one and only Srimati Swapna Sundari, has been conceived very unusually by her. The power of the number 10, the power of 10 is what she calls it, which takes me down memory lane to 1991-1992, when the ITC mounted a Swarna Sankhya festival, where each one of us were given numbers and asked to play around those numbers in full performances. And we had, yes, she was also part of it, and oh, you did this. This is 91-92 ITC festival. The concept is the same. And in that festival, the first of its kind, which dealt with the numbers, we had the Dhananjayans, we had Malavika Sarukai, we had the Yamini Krishnamurti, Vani Ganapati, myself, and the most wondrous was, of course, Kelu Babu, handling so beautifully Dashananan. It was a wonderful journey of learning for all of us. And it was also a journey that led to many discoveries. Because numbers and groupings comprising fundamental elements form an integral part of the architectonic superstructure of traditional Indian thought and worldview. Every number has innumerable groupings of fundamental elements. Together they form holistic and comprehensive entities in specific spheres. Last year's and this year's convener, Srimati Swapna Sundari, has brought to this conference a unique capabilities. Unique in that these qualities are not just in her, but she has awakened in every participant of this conference artistry, creativity and intelligence. The more commonly known, and what is interesting is the more commonly known interpretations of the number 10 will not be handled in this conference, but the more uncommonly known interpretations of 10 will form the most important features in this conference.
I was on this stage about 43 years ago, presenting as solo numbers as glimpses of Bhagawatha Mela. It is still fresh in my mind. The auditorium was full, and there were stalwarts on this audience, and I am back here again after 43 years. I am greatly honored, and once again I thank the Sabha. Thank you.
I now request Nritya Chudamani, Srimati Swapna Sundari ji, the convener of the 35th conference, to give her felicitation speech.
Namaskaram, Vanakkam, good morning everybody. It's with great pleasure that I stand here, not just as convener of Natya Kala Conference, but also as a representative of the Bharatam as manifest in various parts of India and as manifest in my part of India as well. And a Bharatam that has been taken forward for many generations by Sri Natarajan's family and by himself in the most commendable ways. I do not want to waste time talking about Natya Kala Conference itself. Chitra has already very beautifully explained the concept. Thank you, Chitra, for your very astute understanding of what I've been trying to do in the last 2 years. I want to thank Mr. Prabhu and Sri Krishna Gana Sabha for having given me an opportunity to try and do something a little different by way of choice of subjects for Natya Kala Conference last year and this year. I've enjoyed this whole experience tremendously, and I hope and I'm sure that the succeeding conveners of this prestigious conference would be able to bring new insights through their convenership. Coming to the felicitation of Sri Natarajan, as I was listening to his biodata, not really biodata, a little bit of background, because we all know him very well, we know the Bhagawatha Mela form as well. There was a very curious parallel evolving in my mind, and which made me wonder whether for a child which has been orphaned, the foster parents are more important or the biological parents are more important. I have often compared in my mind and shared with my disciples the fact that I notice that the contributions or creative expressions of the Telugu people have barely received attention in their own homeland. The genesis of the arts may have been in Nellore or Kadapa or wherever. Barring the renewed interest in Annamacharya, and of course the great fervor with which we Telugus claim the Trinity to be our own, and I join in their fervor, it is more out of, I think, chauvinism than anything else. It should not be so. I feel that the art, when it traveled, whether in the hands of the forefathers of the Trinity, whether in the hands of the forefathers of Sri Natarajan and others who represent the art forms generic to the Telugu people in the golden land of Tanjore and its surroundings. I feel, my personal feeling is that it is easy to give birth to a child. One may abandon it, or the child may have strayed away. Whichever way it happens, someone who takes care of the child, gives it the nourishment it requires, guides it in its growth to adulthood, takes responsibility to sustain it in its maturity. That person is a true parent. And perhaps, again, spontaneously this thought came to my mind. Bhagavatam, other than the meaning of Bhagavatam as it pertains to the Bhagawatha Mela, also brought to my mind a very, very strange parallel. The Bhagavatam, or the story of Bhagavad, or the Srimad Bhagavatam in this case, could also have a very close, could also be said to have a very close relationship. This is entirely, again, my poetic interpretation of this. Lord Krishna, who was born in a prison. Lord Krishna was carried across the waters of the Yamuna. Lord Krishna was adopted by Nanda and Yashoda. Lord Krishna performed all his miraculous deeds, his wondrous deeds, his Leela, and grew from strength to strength until he could come back, slay Kamsa, and release his parents. In this sense, the Bhagavata Mela itself perhaps is very aptly named, because the art of the Bhagavata Mela Natakam can be compared to Lord Krishna himself. It has been taken out across and to the banks of the Kaveri. It was perhaps not abandoned so much as taken across in the basket of reverence, of love for the art, of concern for preserving its purity, so that it may not be sullied under the changing political, socio-political changes that were taking place in Andhra Pradesh at that time. It was given patronage and sustenance. And those who brought it naturalized in this land, in this blessed land, just as Bharatam Kashinathaya and so many others, of course the Trinity later, all of them were naturalized. They sustained these art forms of the Telugu origin with love, respect, and dedication, to the extent that perhaps, except those of us who are on the research side or scholars and people here who are highly literate in the arts, most of the world now attributes the Bharatam of Bhagawatha Mela Natakam and other forms to Tanjore. And in this context, like Lord Krishna grew, guided Arjuna and delivered the Bhagavad Gita, similarly, the beauty, the artistic content of Bhagawatha Mela Natakam is being delivered and shown and savored by all of us only because, like Lord Krishna, it grew into maturity in the Tanjore belt through families such as Sri Natarajan's. And therefore, it is, my pleasure is doubled being a Telugu, seeing the process of the migration, the growth, the flowering of the Bhagawatha Mela Natakam and its fruition today to become an internationally acknowledged art form. It gives me great pleasure, both as a Telugu and a dancer and a researcher, that today I should be here to felicitate an exponent of this particular dance form of dual parentage. Thank you very much.